The gang's all here, B01, Human, Ank, and Chompy. First video, we went from starting in the middle of the desert with just one weak gangster, and by the end of the episode, we had moved into a town, which unfortunately still is in the middle of a desert, but we now had 3 weak gangsters, and a cool robot dog. Doesn't sound a whole lot better, but so far we're not doing too bad. The main goal right now is going to be to start a small underground business within Heft, as we're firstly going to need to make some money and get some capital in order to start our own settlement. So to begin, we're going to be patrolling around Heft looking for any weak bandits or post-battle scraps that we can loot. After briefly scanning the desert, I saw a group of manhunters who I thought would be great bait. I had our 3 gangsters run over to the gates of Heft, and then I planned to have Chompy lure them to the gates. Unfortunately, to my misunderstanding, I didn't know the manhunters are kinda chill with the United Cities, which makes sense as there's like a literal slave store right in the middle of town. So this led to us not only unsuccessfully luring any manhunters over to the town, but we also now had a 500 cat bounty placed on Chompy for assault. Isn't that just wonderful? This is enough to make the guards instantly attack Chompy when he gets near the city, so I had to get this dealt with. I set our 3 gangsters onto passive mode so they wouldn't engage any guards, and Chompy headed into the police station to turn himself in. But even though Chompy went in and endured his beating and was waiting to be locked up so we could bail him out, no one was putting him in a cage due to all the cages being occupied by bandits and losers. I even tried to buy the freedom of a random slave so they would have one cage open, but no, it still didn't work. Along with this, the manhunters had finally arrived at the gates of Heft and began combat with our squad. I gave up the whole trying to get Chompy arrested mission, and I sent him straight into the battlefield, and Chompy was able to peck off a bunch of guys while the other gangsters fought the remaining enemies. After the battle, we had done quite a lot. We had nearly knocked out 20 manhunters, and they were all ready to loot. We were able to make a little over 5k off of the loot that we sold, and I felt that we were ready to obtain some new recruits, mainly scouting around for any unique races that have an XP bonus I'm after. This is when the group of gangsters stumbled into a random house on accident since I misclicked. Immediately, some fuckhead starts yelling at us, "Hey, get out of here, you don't belong here." Who the fuck you are, man? You have your door wide open, it's an accident, we're walking out. It is outrageous. So I clicked on the house and saw it was on sale for 4,000 cats, a very small price to pay for a big fuck you to that guy. So our heroes bought the small shack mainly out of spite and got to watch the fuckhead shut up and leave. Now that we had our own property in Heft, we needed to come up with a plan going forward. First step would be to build a level 1 research bench, which will allow us to research technologies and unlock new buildings and things to build in game. It costs 3 building materials, so I found the local material shop in town and stocked up. I picked all the free research options, and since Ank has an XP bonus in researching, I set him on it. Now while Ank would be researching, B01 and Human could head to the local bars to see if they could find any more recruits for the gang. Mainly, I needed 2 more fighters, but also 2 more laborers. I did consider obtaining some slaves, but on the other hand, I'd like the character to get strong eventually and be a part of a team, and since our gang is still pretty small, having a few more members would be nice. So firstly, we found a Khaji woman who we hired for 3k cats and renamed to Brittany Ears. We then found a second woman to recruit, a Greenlander named Izumi. She claimed to need a sponsor for her research and that she was skilled in first aid as well, which was very useful. I swapped Ank from researching and sent in the new recruit Izumi, and the first priority would be to get ore containers set up, as I wanted to set up a copper storage and then get Brittany Ears to work by mining copper for us. Immediately though, she was attacked by some random slaves, which was kind of nice as I realized as long as Brittany Ears is mining near the gate, then we'll never really miss out on a battle or free loot near the gate. I would then split the group up, one into the top Gs and one into the workers. With a small headquarters set up, we'll be able to make passive income by mining, while we have a top Gs exploring and looking for groups to ambush. We got lucky right away by finding some goblin cultists who weren't in a super big group, making it easy for the top Gs to take them down. They'd continue throughout the day, going from fighting to resting at the bar and back to fighting before sunrise. It's just about the end of week 1, but they're already causing hella trouble. Now, most of these fights were with people like rebels or manhunters, so it's pretty fair game so far, but we were still suffering pretty severe injuries, meaning we would have to wobble back slowly to Heft in order to heal. Usually Ank would spend his time at the bar healing, while B01 and Human would spend their time in the skeleton bed. Now, after a while, Izumi had finished all the research we needed to do, so I found an extra copper node near Heft and assigned her to mining. At this point, we had a lot of loot to sell, and all we needed to do right now was to wait to heal up, so while waiting, fighting, I decided to send Human into a local bar to look for more recruits. And we actually found a pretty cool Scorchlander for hire. We brought her into the gang and named her Scarlet. Mainly, I wanted a Scorchlander since they have armor smithing XP bonuses and weapon smithing XP bonuses, as well as also being great for ninjas or assassins. Everybody was healed up, but we now had 4 gangsters of the top Gs ready to go out and find some fights. We ran into a group of rebel farmers fairly fast, so we began a battle with them, to which almost everybody got knocked out. We still won the battle, but it brought everybody's health way back down. It was thanks to Chompy we were able to secure a victory, but while B01 was knocked out, some asshat ran up and enslaved him. Now Chompy made sure to take care of this guy, but what a pain in the ass. I had to lockpick the stupid shackles, then we gotta re-find his gear, and now we got a 48-hour effect in game that marks him as an escaped slave, meaning most guards will attack on sight. Isn't that just fucking sweet? After healing up and looting all the bodies, we had a long journey back to Hef, and while I was attempting to set up a cool cinematic, some skimmers jumped us, causing us to endure a lot more damage. Thankfully there was a mender camp nearby, so I sent everyone there to unload and sell all the loot that we had found. Then once back at Heft, everybody rested up for half a day and healed from the last trip. It was on day 9 in the morning when I built a food storage, as our human gangsters were starting to starve to death, which isn't cool at all. Just buying 4 food cubes made us go broke, so we had to go back out and find more battles to earn our keep. The gangsters were able to find a group of skimmers and began battle. And while the skimmers are really strong, there's still no match to Chompy, and even if they hit or knock out our gangsters, they get a lot of experience for fighting these things. After battle, I healed up and harvested all the skimmers' teeth so we could sell them. It makes us about 500 cats per skimmer by selling their teeth. I also decided to pick up the skimmers and head back to Hef so we could do a bit more strength training, spending about half a day to obtain a few more strength levels, and then going to sell all the loot we had plus the copper that Brittany Ears and Azumi had been mining. This brought us up to nearly 20k, so I went and bought some food along with backpacks for Human and Ank. Also picked up a bunch of maps so we could have some more locations on the map marked, and it would take us until the start of day 11 for us to find our next group of rebel farmers to victimize. The group was finally getting stronger, meaning the more low-level groups were no longer impacting us as much as before, so we could finally explore some more. But the weakest link in the party is definitely Scarlet, as we just recently recruited her. She got smoked by a skimmer, so we'd have to go back to Heft. Thanks a lot, Scarlet. When we ended up getting back, Human picked up some books so we could get some more simple research done, as I wanted to work towards unlocking level 2 technology. The next battle took place against a group from the Goblin Cult. They had shooters, making the battle even more annoying, but we managed to not have any knockdowns. And these Goblin Cultists have some pretty good loot on them. After returning to Heft and selling our loot in copper, it brought us back up to 20k cats. I went and bought some more books, and while waiting for the research to finish, I watched a beautiful scene where Chompy was outside making some friends with some bone dogs over a meal of dead bandits. Now that we had tech level 2, the gang would buy a bigger house located in Hef for about 19k, that way we could fit in a level 2 research bench. This would allow us to research a lot more things. Specifically, I wanted the training dummies, as our characters are still very low leveled, so having a way to level them up will definitely help offset the difference in power we have right now. And instead of sitting at a level 10 dummy, I went for getting our tech up to level 3, as if we upgraded the bench as well as upgraded the dummies, we could get our characters up to level 15 melee offense. And now that we also had a bit more money, I upgraded Ank's leg into a normal skeleton leg before we went on to our next adventure. We ran into some slavers pretty fast, which was perfect for us, as most of our stats are on par with theirs, making the battle very worthwhile. And with only Ank being knocked out, we were able to heal up pretty easily and then loot all the corpses. On our way back, they ran into some rebel farmers to slaughter, which doesn't give us a lot of money in loot, but is always good for XP. And then once back at Heft, we had plenty of money to buy B01 a better arm and invest in a level 3 training dubby. I'd also get a dexterity pole, which would allow us to train the dexterity skill up to level 30, and I then put Scarlet on the dexterity pole and sent the rest of the group over to Shobatai to seek new recruits. There were 2 bars there, and we did find a couple hivers, but I didn't really want more glass cannon type characters on our team. I really wanted to find some more tanks, so I sent the gangsters back to Heft and we would seek elsewhere for more members. Once Scarlet hit level 22 in dexterity, she joined the group again and then would make a trip to a local settlement named Southport. On the way there, they faced some skimmers, which wasn't too bad, but surprisingly, some slavers were a difficult match for the top cheese. Ankh ended up having his leg completely chopped off, the only other good leg that he had, so we now had to pick him up and find him another robot leg. And when we went into Southport, it wasn't even a normal settlement, it was a fucking slaver town, so there wasn't much there except for slavers and slaves and rubble. The group would have to head back to Heft still without a new recruit. In order to find some new members for the gang, they're gonna have to make their adventure go far, and they're gonna have to look wide around the Kenshi map. Let me know in the comments section a few locations or a few characters you'd like to see me pick up for the gang. But I want to thank you guys all for watching this video. If you liked it, remember to leave a like and comment and subscribe, as it helps my channel grow. But anyways, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.